Hello, my name is Aisha and I'm working with YMCA WISE project to talk to taxi drivers about responding to vulnerable children and young people in regards to sexual exploitation.
Some taxi drivers have told us that they think it's a waste of time when they do report anything.
Personally, I think that we all have a responsibility to be as vigilant as we possibly can in these days, and not doing something because you don't think there's going to be a positive outcome is kind of wrong, really, from on every level.
So some taxi drivers we've spoken to have been concerned that they'll be out of pocket, so if they have to appear in court or things like this. Have you noticed this amongst fellow taxi drivers?
As far as I'm aware, that if you do have to take time off work and appear in court, then if you're self-employed or even employed, you can get compensation from the
Crown Prosecution Service.
CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service. But as far as I know, they pay out pretty quickly. I don't know what levels they pay out on because it's never happened, not something I've been involved in or has ever happened. But it shouldn't really be seen as a deterrent in this day and age.
So some taxi drivers have advised that they'd also be concerned getting too involved in a situation for a risk of their own safety.
It's important for us to remember that we aren't necessarily the bad guys. We're kind of the good guys. We're the ones that get people home when they're in trouble. We're the ones that recognise when people are in trouble and do something about it. Whether we notify the police or whether we notify someone else that can notify social services, we're often the front line. We're often the interface in between the victim and the authorities. And I don't feel vulnerable when I've had to pass information on. The first time I did it, I'll be honest, and I did, I was quite worried because I thought, what am I getting myself into? Which I think is a fairly natural human sort of response to something like that. It's not so, they're not going to pass your details on to something. The best thing you can do really to make sure that you do something proper is when you've seen what's happened is just to make some notes, just write it down on a piece of paper. If you are fortunate enough to have the CCTV, what you've seen is going to be on camera because the camera doesn't hide anything, and you shouldn't feel vulnerable or as if you're going to become some kind of victim. It's not there to happen. That's not the way the system's set up. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any witnesses for any crimes because they'd all be too frightened to turn up just in case someone came around to get them. It's just not going to happen.
So if there were two pieces of information that you would want every taxi driver to know, what would it be?
For example, if it was someone who you were friends with or a family member, what would you expect someone to report?
I think that the police are interested in patterns of behaviour. They'll have an idea if something is going on, and you might just provide them with the little piece of information which ties everything up together. It could be picking someone up at an unusual address or collecting someone from a school and dropping them somewhere where you know is not the normal place that they would be going because you're aware of where they go. Doing cash work from schools is very, very unusual. So school work is normally dealt with by social services and or the school itself, so it would be an account job. So you wouldn't necessarily, unless it was a very special job, get cash work for that kind of thing. The police would be interested in seeing, you kind of feel if someone's in a vulnerable position or not. You get an instinct, your sort of antennae start twitching and you can normally tell if someone's distressed or not happy or not in the right frame of mind to do something. It does stand out.
Child sexual exploitation is when someone takes advantage of a child under the age of 18 for their own benefit. An abuser might use threats, manipulation, intimidation, drugs and alcohol in order to get a child to perform sexual activity for their own or someone else's enjoyment. We need your help to stop child sexual exploitation.